Hello everybody. Today we're going to be going through how we're going to solve multi-step equations with variables on both sides of our equal sign. But before we do that, I just want to do a quick recap of how we can solve a multi-step with our variable on just one side. So we had our 5 steps that we had to do here. I'm going to skip the last one just so we can kind of get through this a little quicker. But step 1 was to distribute. So negative 2 times p is negative 2p. And negative 2 times 5 is going to give me a minus 10 plus 4p equals 14. So second step was to combine like terms. That was one of the things I had talked to you previously about. So we have 2 like terms here. We have negative 2p and 4p. They both have a p attached with them, so they are like terms. They have the same variable taken to the same exponent. So we're just going to combine those. Negative 2 plus 4 is 2, so we have 2p minus 10 equals 14. So we have now combined like terms. This is what our equation will look like when we have combined them. So next step, just like a 2-step equation. We've been doing this for a long time. So 2 steps, I need to get rid of my add subtract first. So I'm going to add 10 and add 10. And over here we will have left 2p equals 24. Maintain that equality. We got to do the same exact thing on both sides of our equal sign here. And then after our add subtract steps comes multiply divide. So we are going to divide by 2 and divide by 2. I divided because p is being multiplied by 2. We need to do the opposite operation to undo those things. So divide by 2, we have p left over. And 24 divided by 2 is 12. So p equals 12. That was with a variable on one side. So now we're going to move back to what we came here to talk about today, and that is variables on both sides. So same kind of steps we got going on here. So we need to distribute everywhere we can. So distribute if needed, and if it is needed, do it everywhere that it needs to be done. So what my equation will look like after I distribute, well, we have to do that. So 8 times 7 is 56, and 8 times negative p is just negative 8p. So minuses are the same as negatives, so that negative 8p just turned into minus 8p here. Equals, so distribute everywhere, negative 16 times p is negative 16p. And negative 16 times that negative 2 is going to be a positive, so plus 32. Oops, over here I forgot my minus 8. Don't forget that. It's still hanging out there. It needs to be included. So that's really important that I remembered that, because our next step is we have to combine our like terms wherever we can. Now we do this on separate sides of the equal sign. So first we look at the left, then we look at the right when we're combining like terms. So I have a 56 here and that negative 8 that I almost forgot about. We have to combine those together before we move on. And 56 minus 8 is going to leave us with 48. And bring down the rest. Minus 8p. Now we're going to look at the right-hand side. I only have 2 terms, and they are not like terms because only one of them has a variable. So we have our constant 32 here, but that is different than the negative 16p we have here, because our 32 doesn't have a p with it. So they are not like terms. We cannot combine them. So we have left over negative 16p and plus 32. All right, I've combined everything I can. We just have 2 separate sides of the equal sign, as simplified as they can get. So here we need to move variables to one side. So I'm going to split this thing into two because we're going to do that kind of two different ways here, just to show you it doesn't matter which one you do. Whichever one you're comfortable with, do that. So first things first, I am going to add 16p. In order to move it over to this side, I need to add 16p. So remember, maintain that equality. Do the same thing on both sides of your equal sign. It's going to zero out for us there. And over here, we will have 48 plus, well, negative 8p plus 16p is just 8p. P is just a value we don't know. Equals 32. We're going to do the other way when we get back to the other side. So before we do that, I'm just going to quickly undo these couple steps that I did, because we're going to see it the other way later. Continuing on this way, now we just have a nice simple two-step equation here. We have 48 plus 8p equals 32. So we've been solving two steps for quite a while now. So we've got minus 48 to get that variable term by itself. I have to do, the exact same thing on the other side, which is subtract 48, not 84. And that's going to zero out on this side. And we have 8p left over equals 32 minus 48 is going to be, 48 minus 32 is 16. But I took away more than I had, so bam, negative 16. Yes, just double checking in my head. All right. And next up, we have to multiply, divide. We're at our multiply, divide step. So divide by 8 and divide by 8. P should be equal to 16 divided by 8 is 2. Negative divided by a positive is negative. P should equal negative 2. So we can check that. 8 times 7 minus, this is really important here, negative 2. It's not just minus 2, it's minus negative 2. We're following that equation that we were originally given up above. Minus 8. Minus 8 equals negative 16 times, negative 2 minus 2. All right, now I have two sides. I can do things kind of simultaneously here. Let's do our parentheses first. So 8 times, in the parentheses, 7 minus negative 2 is the same as 7 plus 2, so that will be a 9 inside of there. Minus 8 equals, we're doing the parentheses on the other side, so negative 16. Negative 2 minus 2 is negative 4. 8 times 9 is 72. Then we have minus 8, so I'm going to do the multiply on the other side too. 16 times 4 is 64, and a negative times a negative is a positive. And 72 minus 8 is 64. That is equal to the 64 that we got over here. This is the important part. It is equal. So we maintained that equality the right way when p was negative 2. If you go through your evaluation steps and you get something like 64 equals 32, then we made a mistake and it doesn't work. But this is equal, so that checks off for us. All right, we're going to rewind a little bit now back to the other way we can do this to move our variable around. So we're kind of splitting steps 3 through 6 into two parts here, because you might get stuck with, well, can I only move my variables from one side to another? So I'm going to tell you, no, you can't only do it one way, and let's see it the other way. So before we added 16p to kind of move it to the other side. Now let's see what happens when we move this minus 8p around. So I'm Going to add 8p to get rid of it on this side, and I'm going to maintain that equality by adding over here. So this side's now going to disappear for us, and we are going to have 48 all by its lonesome. Now negative 16p plus 8p is going to be negative 8p and plus 32. All right, we are now at our add subtract step, so we need to subtract 32, subtract 32, zeros out, and we will have 16 equals negative 8p. We're now at our multiply divide step, so I need to divide by negative 8, divide by negative 8, and we get p is equal to 16 divided by 8 is 2, and a positive divided by a negative is negative. So these two things are exactly the same. So if we do it the right way, which is by not making a mistake, then we get to the exact same answer following those two different routes we took. So whichever way you would like to accomplish this, pick one and stick with it. Move your variables to the right or move your variables to the left. But just know that you won't be wrong if you follow the correct steps either way you do. I'm not going to bother checking here because we already checked when p is negative 2, and that's what it is, and it worked. So that is it. I'm going to take a quick little break here, and then we will go through some examples on this paper. So I'm going to plaster all three of these videos kind of into the same window, I think, for us. Or there'll be 3 separate files on Canvas, all for the same date. That's how it's going to go. Sorry, there will be 3 different things to look for. So, all right. See you guys soon.